People, how are we? I hope we are all well. This, I'm not even going to lie, is a take two. Yesterday, I was caught with a few barriers for this one, and the main one was me. I kept waffling. I was taking way too long, and then the kids came home, and I had to move, and then someone at the door. I had to pause it, and then the fucking laptop died. So this is a full circle moment for me here. So basically, this is a new series that I'm going to start rolling out. Obviously, I wanted to start kind of delivering some more longer form content. I did rob this concept somewhat from Joe Gann. He is not going to see this nor give a shit. But I seen him doing stuff like this on his YouTube, and I thought, I kind of like that stuff. And I like obviously making content. And anyone that follows me knows a lot of the content that I post is informative shit. The carousel sliding posts are something that I'm big on. But the only problem with them is they can only be bite-sized information. And with 15 plus years in this industry as a coach, I have perfected my waffling muscle. So it needs to be flexed at some point. So here we are. So again, this is something that this isn't a plug. I've obviously only launched an ebook called The Structure Over Struggle. This is not really anything to do with that in terms of the ebook itself, but more or less the general philosophy behind my coaching and my coaching systems and my coaching approach. And my philosophy is really very much so. So this isn't just me talking shit. I'm not going to take too long either. I want to try and wrap this up in about 20 minutes so it's digestible. But there's also takeaway points for this as well. So you're not just going to watch this and hear me talk shit about how I coach people. I'm going to give you stuff to action today, regardless of where you're at right now in your own physique development journey or whatever you want to call it. So this is webinar 1. And the systems behind building I fucked it up already. The system behind every great physique. And we're calling this one Structure Over Struggle. So basically, an introduction. I don't have one here for myself, but my name is Cav. I am a classic physique competitor. I have been personal training. I was qualified in 2010. My parents were both national level bodybuilders, and I grew up in gym. So I was kind of always around this stuff. Always around bodybuilders, always around fitness, always on a gym floor. So it was kind of natural kind of path for me to kind of end up here kind of coaching people. And obviously 15 years on plus, this is where we are. I've coached several people to stage, girls and guys. In the last year, I have put 3 people on stage, and I've come away with top 3 placings every time. So it's gone well. I've competed myself a few times. I am competing since 2012 at a few years of a gap around COVID. We'll get to that one as well. The classic, it'll only take 2 months and it took 2 years. It took me a little bit of time to get back then. Obviously, I helped my best mate Mokhtar set up Champions Gym. Well, he set it up, but I managed it for him for a few years. And that's kind of where I really kind of perfected my coaching. Like I've been coaching people for a long, long time by the time I got to Champions. But Champions is where my career kind of really kicked off and where I really got down into the nitty gritty kind of meat and potatoes of coaching people, coaching athletes, and kind of sharpening my own tools to a degree. So enough about myself. There I am. You're going to see many different versions of Cav throughout these with different pictures that I did. I think from now on, I'll probably just keep these playing because fuck that. 1, I've ran out of pictures, and 2, no one wants to be seeing all that shit, particularly me. So to start, structure over struggle. The biggest issue people face is not their effort. It is their lack of structure. We all have effort in us. We all have moments of motivation. But that doesn't mean that we get things done. January is always the best time to see that. I've worked many New Year's to know at this point that you get about maybe 10 days out of people, maybe 3 weeks, 21 days, before the fleeting motivation kind of falls off when they realize that they're actually not really getting anywhere and who am I kidding and fuck it, who cares? But the biggest issue that they have there, obviously they have the effort is present, that's what's got them there, but they've no structure to follow. They've no way to quantify the work that they're doing or to kind of really check in with themselves and know, am I doing anything? Am I progressing? Is this working? Like there's nothing there in the back end to kind of support what they're at. And that's why obviously coaching is a big thing, but because it's the accountability, like most people kind of know. And that's the other thing. Most people know what they have to do. Like we know, a deficit for fat loss, a surplus for muscle gain, you can type this shit into ChatGPT and it's going to give you a full plan to follow. But the big thing is the accountability factor, is someone to kind of stand over you and kind of make you do it. And again, having a structure there to follow is the biggest part of that. The real problem, motivation is inconsistent. It's an emotion. It is fleeting. It's not going to be here today and then there tomorrow. It could be there for 2 days, might be gone on the third day. What do you do then when the motivation isn't there? Is that's what's going to pull you out of bed? Probably not. Discipline is probably going to be more the thing that does that. And how we build discipline is by building repeatable behaviors. Let me just move my fat little head because it's kind of getting in the way of some of the shit here. Let me hover around a little bit here as we go page to page. Motivation is inconsistent, structure is repeatable, and physiques are built on repeatable behaviors. The top 5 Olympians, every person that's ever been on an Olympian stage isn't a highly motivated person. That's what got them there. They have repeatable behaviors and a structure to fall back on to monitor what they're doing and quantify what they're doing and be able to kind of know that they're going in the right direction and they're doing the right thing. And this is why structure beats motivation. It removes emotion, it removes guesswork, removes decision fatigue, and it turns chaos into clarity. And more than anything, it turns I'll try into I'll do. So if you don't have a meal plan in place, let's say, or some form of structure to your nutrition, we get home from the gym. Most people kind of tend to go to the gym after work. They've had a long day. They've bashed themselves in the gym, probably too much so as well, because there's no structure there to follow. And you go home and you kind of go, oh, well, I thought there was chicken there. There's no chicken there. What will I have? I don't know. What else can I eat? And then this comes into this kind of downward spiral of, fuck it, I'll just have that. And what that is usually not conducive to their progress. And then that's another, I'll try. And maybe I'll try and do this. Whereas, if you have this in place, I know what I'm eating every day. I have it there. And even if I don't have it there cooked and ready to go, it's there ready to be cooked, to be ready to go. And that comes from I'll try to I'll do. There's no food in the fridge that's cooked. I'm going to have to cook this shit so that I have something there to eat. And these are the 4 pillars of progress. So this is not news to anybody. If it is news to you, you've a big, long road ahead of you. But the 4 pillars of progress are training, nutrition, lifestyle, and tracking. A structure in each. That's all you need. When you have these 4, there's very little that you need to worry about. And one of the biggest things you don't need to worry about is motivation, because you have all of those things in place. Nothing's going to go wrong there, and things can still go wrong. But if things go wrong, we have something to reference to fix it. And that's the biggest thing. That's what turns I'll try to I'll do. You'll notice this picture as well as my most recent check-in picture as well. We'll skim over that very quickly though. So pillar 1 is training structure. This is a huge one, especially for men. Men, the male inclination, high testosterone individuals will go in and go, I'm lifting some heavy shit today, which is the vaguest shit you could say. Like, what does that even mean? Like, who knows? If there's no structure to follow in the training, it definitely means fuck all, because it's a vague concept more than anything. Whereas if I know I'm going in and I have a workout planned, I'm going to lift some heavy shit today in this and in that, for this and for that, and in this way with this execution. So progression-based plan with exercise selection that doesn't change every week is a big one. There's no point in doing a squat one week and a leg press the next week, and then a hack squat the following week, and then I'll do, I don't know, Bulgarian split squats the following week. Nothing wrong with doing those things, but if you're not progressing them over time, you don't really know what you're getting out of it. And you're also not sure of how many reps you're doing, what weight you do on that exercise, what is the weight you can do the most of, what weight is too much. This is just all, you'll notice that like with training structure, it all kind of ends up leading towards injury, overtraining, and being under recovered really. So, we don't want to do, a fresh exercise every week. And I'm all for changing it up, but you should still have your staples in place, that you're doing. Like, these are the hard and fast, like even the ones I don't want to do are the ones that I have to do. Always do the hard stuff. But don't only do the hard stuff as well. There needs to be stuff in there that you still enjoy. And there's, you're not going to hate every exercise. If you do, eventually you'll learn to love them. And how you learn to love them is by rinsing them weekly. And I don't mean 4 weeks. Like, my own clients I'll run 4-week plans for, but that's more in terms of the approach to, an isolation move first, for a month, and then the next month it's a strength phase. So we drop the isolation into the second exercise and they run their compound first. Only after 4 weeks of getting a bit of awareness around themselves and what's right and wrong in the gym, in a safer environment, which is what I call a foundation first, but it's pre-exhaust training. And that just kind of gives you more of a better feeling of where you're at before you start going in and trying to hammer weight around. But what you'll notice in that, my clients will notice as well, is the exercises don't change. They just change sequence. So you're still actually running the same exercises, but changing the sequence alone will give you more out of a workout than slapping something else random in there, a one-arm fucking rear delt fly kind of shit. I've seen this on Instagram. I'm going to try this today, and I'm all for that, but don't do it as your main exercise. Throw it in as a bit of fluff at the end, maybe just to kind of give a feel for it, and then throw it into rotation over time. Set rep ranges is that same thing. Define tempos, repeatable setups, planned load progression. My clients will have this as well when they're using the app. They put in their reps and their weight. The following week, that same rep and weight will populate. Now, it will be faded out, but they'll be able to see what they did the week previous, so they know what they're going in to beat from last week. And, I'm all for logging. I'm not a passionate logger of stuff, but also at the same time, I'm not someone that's going to remember every single rep of every set from every exercise the week previous. Some days I couldn't tell you what I had for fucking breakfast. I could, because there's a structure there, but you get what I'm saying. So that same thing. So not switching movements around willy-nilly, having a set rep range. So, I do this for 12 and that's what I'm going for. I also know what weight I'm kind of doing that rep range for. The setup is huge. I know what sits comfortable when I get into this. This needs to be this way. I want my lower back against the pad on a hack squat. I want my shoulder blades tucked down and my chest up on a pec fly. These type of things. It's something that's repeatable. And again, you can't progress or overload chaos. So if you're just doing wild shit every week and you're going off the seat of your pants, like, how do you progress that? You can't. That is the big problem. And again, here we are. This is why people stay stuck. Changing exercises weekly, not logging your lifts, surefire way of getting lost in your own sauce. I did 100 kilos on the hack squat last week for 15, but I'm going in for the leg press now this week. But I didn't do the leg press last week, so I don't really know what I'm going for. So I'll just start adding plates and kind of wait till I get to a point where that feels tough enough. And when you do that, what happens there is your voice in your head creeps in and goes, that's heavy enough, don't worry about it. And you've left gains on the table, as they'd say. Chasing pump, not progression. Big advocate of the pump myself, but it is a byproduct of the progressions. Like most people go, oh, well, I didn't really get that weight, but I got a pump. I'll just go over and I'll do this. Fuck that shit. The pump is going to come. And even if it doesn't mean you didn't have a good session. How you know you've had a good session is your progressions. And progressions won't always present themselves in the same way. Like, it won't be, I got those 3 reps I missed last week. Sometimes it could be, I hit the same reps, but I felt a little bit more connected, or it felt a little bit more stable. These are things that you kind of hitch on. And again, this is redundant to you if you don't have a structure to follow. And then ego loading is the last one. Proper male ego. I'm just going to add shit on here and see what happens. Like, that's famous last words before an injury, and take it from someone who has some rusty ass rotator cuffs. That'll come for you. No one's safe from suffering that shit. Pillar 2 is nutrition structure. So nutrition that works for you and not against you. The biggest problem people have is thinking that it has to be perfect. But perfect is like saying I'm going to go in and lift heavy shit. It's super vague and it's not kind of specific to you. What's perfect to you based off where you've been and what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve is more where it's at. This is the stuff I give my own clients, macro anchors. Like, what do you can get out of food for your protein sources, for your carb sources, for your fat sources? Meal timings. Do you know what you're eating daily? I know every day I eat a 9:30, 12:30, 3:30, 6:30, 9:30. Without a doubt. And if anything kind of skews from that, or I'm a little bit delayed, or I'm an hour over, or 15 minutes over, I still know that I'm still in that kind of that ballpark of where I should be. Protein targets is a huge one as well. Like, protein is going to be the big thing to kind of help your hunger, your satiety. Obviously, it's going to help with muscle building and muscle recovery. And it's going to fluff out your meals as well, so you're not overloading on carbs. And you're not feeling hungry for carbs or anything like that, because you've had the protein. It's slower to digest and it kind of breaks down better in the system, or slower in the system. Repeatable meal patterns. One of the biggest things that always people get about a week or two into a plan and they're like, can we change up the food? I'm all for food variety. Everyone's diet will have variety in it, but there's a lot to be said for able to kind of repeat the mundane. And not so more than anything other than for your own body, so that your body is just kind of more in rhythm with what you're doing. And hydration is a big one there as well. I've heard this a few years ago and I'm not sure how accurate it is, but I'm sure to some vein there's accuracy in it. but as little as 2% dehydration can cause upwards of up to 90% of a decrease in performance. How accurate is that? I don't know, but I can tell you now, first-hand experience, you will feel that shit. Most of us are dehydrated without even noting it. If you're sub 100 kilos, 3 liters, 2 liters will do. If you're over 100 kilos, you're going to need to knock towards more 4 or 5 liters of water. Try that for 2 or 3 days. You will piss like a racehorse. That will settle. But one thing you won't be able to deny is the difference that you feel. I don't know how many times I felt tired, felt crabby, felt sore, lethargic, and it was a hydration issue. So that's a big one. And don't even worry about electrolytes. Just get the water into you first. And this is why the food creates the internal environment that training builds from. I've said this countless times. If I had someone come on for 12 weeks and I just worried about their nutrition instead of their training, they're getting good results. If it's the other way around, they're going to look the same by the end of it. You can't out-train a bad diet. And, training for the most part is the fun part. If you train 4 days a week, that's 4 hours. Whereas training or nutrition is 24 hours. It follows you around every day. And here's some nutrition mistakes, and you're fucking glaring at one right now, straight off stage, cramming a donut in, never doing that again. So eating randomly, being underfueled, healthy but unstructured meal choices, weekend sabotage, and drinking more calories than they realize. These are the classics. And eating at random is the one. And you'll notice that these all kind of snowball into the one. Eating at random is going to cause you to be underfueled. Eating healthy but unstructured meal choices means fucking anything nowadays, because everything has protein in it. Everything is diet this and diet that. But when you look at what's actually in these things, even if it's not a caloric thing, ingredient-wise, what's in there and what is it doing to your insides? Like, these are the things we have to know. And that's sometimes, a lot of the times, comes down to being individually specific. Like, do you have any allergies to certain things? Is your body intolerant to certain things? Is that something that's actually a thing and you don't even know it? Like, that's another thing you have to look at. But the less connected you are to the food you're taking in, the less connected you're going to be to knowing that, or being able to kind of even get that information for yourself, as opposed to having to go and ask your doctor, who probably isn't going to give you the best answers either. Or, a nutritionist, a dietitian, someone like that, a coach like myself. Weekend sabotage is a big one as well. Oh, I did well Monday to Friday, fuck the weekend. Well, you just literally wrote off that 5 days. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, 80-20 on a daily, or 80-20 over the week. Yeah, but like 20 isn't the 2 days at the end of the week. It's probably a meal in one of those days. Now, lifestyle structure, massive one. And why it's a massive one is because this is in our control to every degree. Now, I am not a 25-year-old online coach who has fuck all else going on and is asking people, why the fuck are they not getting up at 4:30 in the morning? I get up at 4:30 in the morning. If you would ask me a year ago, would I get up at 4:30 in the morning, I'd slap you across the head. But now it's just a necessity. Do I want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning? Fuck no. When my alarm goes off, I would love nothing more than to lie in bed for another 2 hours. But I know that if I do that, one, I'm going to fucking carry that shit with me all day. It's going to set me off in a bad mood. And then two, it's just going to wreck my day. Like, my schedule is going to be fucked. I have kids. I have school runs to do. I have school collections to do. I have coaching to, I have clients to coach. I have content to make. I have fucking webinars to be recording here. You know what I mean? So these things are, no one's asking for a pound of flesh, but you have to take responsibility for your own life and your own time. Like, I don't have time doesn't really cut it anymore, because like, you might not, but are you staying up till 11:30 at night watching TikTok because you feel like you deserve it and you feel like you need time? You would have that time if you went to bed at a decent time, woke up at a decent time, and you were a little bit more alive. It's something we'll get into as well. So your physique is built outside the gym. Most people think you're growing in the gym. You're growing outside the gym, out of your lifestyle structure and your nutrition structure. So your sleep routine is a big one. Going to bed at a set time, waking up at a set time every day has a massive impact on your day-to-day. And I mean in terms of your emotions, I mean in terms of your digestion, I mean in terms of your recovery. To kind of fuck with that makes big changes to your body. Most of us won't even notice it because we're already just kind of sucked into that as it's normal. I wake up tired, I'm fucking tired anyway, loads of fucking coffee, probably skip breakfast because of that. The day is fucked before it's even started. Step targets is another one. Not mad on steps myself, but for someone that has maybe a high intense job or a high activity job and might change to a low activity job. So you're working on a fucking building site and you end up in an office. Steps are going to mean something to you then. Last week I was doing 12,000 a day as my weekly average, and now I'm doing 6,000. Why am I getting fatter? Look at your steps. Stress management is another one. And again, a little bit conducive to the person. Conducive, a little bit more specific to the person. Are you in environments that aren't helpful? Like, are you in a gym where you can't train? Are you in a setup at home that's, no one's kind of supporting you? Like, these things that kind of build these stresses, or like, again, look at the last two. If you're ignoring those two, that's going to cause stress in itself. Under recovered, that's stress as well. So these are things that we have to be aware of and do our best to try and create a life that kind of solves these things for us. Daily non-negotiables, these kind of fall into all of these things. Building a routine, a rhythm, and personal order isn't going to happen by, I'll set my alarm at 4:30 and I'll see what happens. No, I'm setting my alarm at 4:30 and I'm getting out of fucking bed because that's what I have to do to get where I want to go. You just have to have that, non-negotiables, essential. And these are the lifestyle mistakes. Literally just kind of cover them there. Inconsistent sleep is a fucking massive one you would not believe. There's a lot to be said for going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. Having all or nothing behavior. This is that motivation shit as well where, no, fuck that, I'm going to do it today. I'm not going to have any carbs today. I'm just going to have protein and fats all day and loads of veg. I'm going to drink loads of water. I'm going to do all this stuff. And by 12 o'clock in the day, maybe you've dropped one of these things and then you just hit the fuck it button. Fuck it, I wrecked it. I'll try again tomorrow. That's not a rhythm either. So you see all these things, they kind of fall into each other and kind of snowball effect. Tracking structure is another one. I have no idea what I'm doing. Imagine you signed up to a coach. If you sign up with me, you'll notice that there's a place for what time do you wake up at, what time do you go to bed at, what time do you train at, and what do you eat in a general sense. If you don't know any of those things, you make my job a lot harder. Now, I don't have an issue with that because I'll figure that out and we'll build it together. But there's a lot to be said for having that. Like, that is half the fucking battle, just knowing what way your life moves. Like, what weight are you currently? Are you taking your own weight every week? Are you doing it every day? Are you taking pictures to even see where you're at? Like, are you logging your training? Do you know where your training's at? Like, how's your sleep? Like, your body will follow the data. Always, 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 always. And you will actually feel better for following the data as well. I know it can be a bit much for some people, but there's a lot to be said for that. What can be measured can be managed. Never forget that, because it's super relatable to all of this shit right now. And this is what people struggle with. They have no plan. Therefore, they have no accountability. They have no way of reflecting or measuring what they're doing. And because of zero structure, they have zero consistency. Hard work without structure is frustration. All you're going to end up at is, fuck this, and you fuck it off, and I'm not getting anywhere. And you could be getting somewhere. And ironically, most people that sign up with me are generally 80% of the way there. The biggest issue they face is that they have no confirmation of what they're doing is working or not. And why is that? Because they have no structure and they have no way of measuring what they're doing within their structure, whatever the fuck that is. If you don't have a structure, I don't know what you call it. Your next one is the structure loop. And this is all of these things combined into one. Track what you're doing, be able to reflect on what you're doing, adjust on what you're doing. During reflecting on what you've tracked, if something's not right, you're going to have to adjust in order to progress. And you have to do that every week, every block and every phase. Every block and every phase you can kind of leave to a degree, but doing it every week, do it on a Saturday, do it on a Sunday, Friday, Monday, whatever fucking day, do it every day if you want to, but keeping it simple is key. So I always do Saturday morning check-ins with my guys. Most of us are home. Most of us have fuck all going on. We can kind of have a little lie in. We've had a nice late night the night before, and we've kind of done whatever. And then Saturday, you get up, go to the toilet, take me weight, take me pictures, check in with me coach, go and enjoy me day, have a nice cheat meal that night. And then Sunday is a reset day. That's structure loop. Key to all of that. Inputs and outputs. Predictable inputs create predictable outputs. So if your day is unpredictable, your physique is going to be predictable. And that's the big issue that people face, is like they don't know where they're going, so they feel like they have no ground under them. And then that just right away is going to build frustration. That's going to make them push the fuck it button. And then again, what are you doing? You're restarting on Monday. And that's the difference with what I do. As you probably guessed that as well, an awful lot of what I do is built around the person. Coaching isn't about macros and numbers and how much weight you're lifting. It's about the person. It's about the person's day, their lifestyle, their schedule. What do they have going on? How many kids do they have? What are the days that you have the least amount of time? What are the days you have the most amount of time? So you need to have a system that adapts to your life and your stresses and actually helps those things, as opposed to adding to them. If I get Mary, who's 54, and I give her a bulking diet that I'd give to a 24-year-old young fella that wants to get on stage next year, she's going to have a shit time. And what's that going to lead Mary to? Pushing the fuck it button and restarting on Monday. So I have to look at what Mary has going on, what Mary wants to do, and I have to build a plan, a structure around that so that it can be sustainable for her. The easiest plan or the best plan you can do is the one that's the easiest to follow. That's always going to be the case, no matter what's going on. And this is what you're going to see here as well. The real cheat code. It's not intensity. It's not variety. It's not perfection. It's a structure. It doesn't have to look like Chris Bumstead's life. Chris Bumstead's structure fits Chris Bumstead because that's Chris Bumstead's life. He's built it around that and he's built it into that. I can guarantee you and put millions on it that that's not where he started. And that was a big issue I faced last year coming back to bodybuilding again, where I had this preconceived notion of who I am and what I was, and I have to fall back into that. But who I am now was nowhere fucking remotely close to who I was then. So how do I expect to kind of pull that off, especially considering at that time I had accumulated years of training consistently, competing consistently, and following a regimen consistently. And then for about 2 years, I had none of those things. I was going to wake up on Monday and just start being that Cav again, because I'm not that Cav anymore. So I have to build it around my life. And here's what I was talking about earlier. Action steps for you to start today or tomorrow. Have these 4 commitments. Start small and just look for momentum. Don't look for perfection. Look for momentum. You know, you won't get all of these 4 straight away, but that's okay. When anyone signs up with me, their first 2 weeks, I call it the settling in period, where we iron out creases. You know, anyone that starts something for new, and I was the same when I started with Niall in June. You know, there's about 2 or 3 weeks there where I forgot this, or I mismeasured this, or I fucking actually forgot I was meant to do this instead of that. And, you know, you're going to have that. That's just, we're all fucking human. No one's going to bash you for that. And if you have a coach that bashes you for that, he's an asshole, or she's an asshole, in my opinion anyway. So these 4 are your main ones. Set a training time. You know, are you going to go before work, or are you going to go after work? Because if you're working and you have kids, those are your 2 options. So fucking pick one. Try both. You never know. Getting up to go to the gym might be the reason that you actually start waking up a little bit earlier and getting into that rhythm. Or at the end of the day, might have you tired enough that when you get home, you're not going to fucking stay up till 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, scrolling through TikTok, watching shite. 3 daily meals. Everyone knows this one. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Cannot fucking go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with that. We all societally eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when you get good at eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what you do is you pop a shake and a piece of fruit between breakfast and lunch, and then another one between lunch and dinner, and you're already at 5 meals. You haven't even noticed it. Maybe taking you 2 weeks. Massive. Steps. There's another one. Just take note of what you're doing. What's your output on a daily basis? Doesn't have to be mad. What I usually do in the first 2 weeks for my clients is I don't give them any cardio goals. I get them to give me their weekly average of steps as is recorded on their phone, or if they have a Fitbit or a watch. It doesn't have to be fucking super high. Like, it doesn't have to be monitored to an inch of its life. If you have no way of tracking it, get a little shitty Fitbit, 20 quid, a little pedometer, just to track your steps and get a gauge of just where you're at. There's a lot to be said for just knowing where you're at. And the more you kind of pay attention to it, the more interest you'll have in it. And then the more you'll kind of monitor it and kind of track it. And then track one thing every day. It doesn't have to be mad. One thing a day. And do one thing for a few days till you're sure that you have that locked in. Move on to the next one. So you have a training time. I hit the gym twice this week. I'm going to take a day off tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I get my breakfast, lunch, and dinner in. And when I get to Friday, kind of did that all right. Over the weekend, I'm going to keep an eye on my steps and see where I'm going. Once you get there, you've got 1 week in. By Monday, you should be able to kind of amalgamate all those things together. And if you can't, just keep moving. Baby steps. We're not going to get there by fucking launching Hail Marys. That's how we get fucking burnt out and pissed off. So it's all about small baby steps always. And here's what I usually give me my own clients. First thing in the morning, wake up and hydrate. Pint of water. We all have water. We all have pint glasses. We're Irish. It's fucking in us. Go, fill up the pint glass, knock it back. That's you sort. That's one thing. Now your day is off to a better start. The digestive system's going to be more alert. You're going to be more alert. You're going to be hydrated. And you're going to feel a little bit more mental acuity for that alone. It's not a hot time of the year now, but we will sweat in bed, especially if you have high stress or if you have the heating on, or you ate a big meal before you go to bed. You might sweat more. You need to replenish them fluids straight away. About as important as breakfast, but not as important as. And this is the other thing. First meal by a certain time. You know, if you leave for work at 6 a.m., get up and get something into you. It doesn't have to be eggs, egg whites, and all this fucking sourdough, fucking avocado, smashed toast shit. A shake and a square of dark chocolate. and you're on the pig's back already. Piece of fruit as well, maybe in there, just for a little bit of variety and a little bit of something else if you're hungry. But have it at a set time, like your bedtime and your wake time. Have it at a set time every day. Breakfast is the most important meal a day for many reasons. It's going to set the tone for your digestive system throughout the day. It's also going to set the frequency for your meals throughout the day. Anywhere from 2 to 4 hours based off that first meal is going to tell you when your next meal is. It's also going to stop you from over caffeinating and then losing your appetite signals, and then finding yourself at 1 o'clock in the day going, why am I really tired and crabby and feel like I'm about to fucking collapse? It's because you are over caffeinated and you have nothing in your body to support that. A training window. So like I said at the start or earlier, you're either training before work or you're training after work. It's one or the other. You're going to have to pick one and find one that suits. It doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be fucking 4 times a week. It can be twice a week. It can be once a week. Start small and kind of build from there. Aim for momentum, not perfection. Anchored meal times is something that will kind of come after hitting those first 2 there. And evening wind down as well as another one. Don't be stuck to TikTok getting into bed. It's the classic thing like, oh, I can drink coffee before I go to bed and I sleep fine. Yeah, you think you sleep fine, but your brain is doing this while you're asleep. So your sleep quality is actually pants, although your sleep duration might be there. Sleep quality is what's important. Towards the back end of my prep, I was getting maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep a night, which is far from conducive to what I'm trying to do. But I always made sure that the quality of sleep was there. So at least I had that. So there was actually quality sleep happening. I was hitting deep sleep. And at least it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to keep me alive and going. Steps and a sleep routine, these are things that go there as well. If you're starting to monitor your steps and you get to the end of the day and you go, oh, fuck, I'm trying to hit 8K steps and I've got 6.5. Well, I'll eat dinner and I'll go out for a little stroll. Walking after food is going to help your digestion. It's going to help settle your body. And it's also going to get you into that state of, right, I'm kind of ready to start going to bed now. Simple, repeatable, elite. Can't beat that shit. And why this works every time. Because you're not going to force results. You can force results, but what happens is from forcing results is you end up burnt out by the end of it. You can't do anything with them results other than fuck them up royally. Again, speaking from someone with experience. Alignment with what your goal is. And again, this is that same thing of, your structure needs to suit you. Like it has to suit you. You can't take Chris Bumstead's structure. You can't take my structure because it's built for me and it's built for him. It's built for everyone else. It has to be built around you. And the gap between your efforts and your results is always going to be structure. It's never going to be willpower, because I can tell you now, a fucking half hour this morning, I had 0 willpower in me, but I still got up because it's a rhythm now and it's something that I do and I know what it does for me. So I'm going to do that. And this is what happens when structure is in place. Your training improves, recovery improves, food becomes easier, stress drops. All of these things are things that fall into each other. It's like a snowball effect. Like you're doing a bit of training, so your sleep is going to be better, so your recovery is going to be better. You're going to wake up a little bit better. You're going to have a bit more mental acuity in the morning, so you're going to be a little bit more alert and aware of what you need to eat. The stress will drop off of that. That means the body composition is going to change quicker. You're going to see results a little bit more quickly, or a little bit more legitimately, let's say. And then that's going to give you this self-fulfilling feeling of, oh shit, I'm kind of actually getting somewhere here. And then that's what people think is motivation. It's watching something work that you've put a hand to, and then you have the opposite of that is when there's no structure in place. It's effort, no direction, frustration, starting again on Monday, a loss of belief, and just burning out. Because again, what's measured can be managed. If you're not measuring it, you can't manage it. So it just leaves you feeling lost and annoyed and thinking that you're less than, and thinking that, oh, this is just me. This victim shit kind of comes out, when really you're just not taking ownership for what it is you should be doing with your own life and your own physique. Like, it's all well and good looking good, but at the end of the day, you only get one body. So you want to look after it, especially if you have kids. Like, that's going to be more apparent to you than ever. Like, you want to be around and be fit and be healthy to whatever degree, like whatever having a set of fucking arms or a set of quads. But like, you want to be able to move and have some type of vitality in your life when you're older, or even now if you don't have it, and this is a surefire way of having it, is by having a structure, following it, and looking after yourself. At the end of the day, this is what this is. And this is what my system is. This is my kind of the blueprint to how I kind of coach people. Everything is a structured phase. Training, I've already covered that. First 4 weeks is going to be pre-exhaustive movements. So an isolation movement at the start of every workout. 4 weeks of that. Get a rhythm of where you're at in terms of your strength, in terms of your capabilities, your recovery capabilities. And then after 4 weeks, and I always kind of hitch it off payment for my monthly guys, when your next payment comes out, that's the start of the next month. So now you've got a new training phase. Now we're into strength phase. Now it won't go outside of foundation first or strength phases, but they'll flip-flop between the two. And every strength phase you come back around to, you start to realize that you're actually going up in numbers and you're getting stronger and you can feel it and now you can see it and then you start believing it. And you're fucking gone then. Weekly adjustments, periodized nutrition, same thing. Start someone off on a daily plan, super manageable to do, baby steps. When they get a little bit more advanced and a little bit more around it, a rest day plan and a training day plan. So this is something now that's going to have something that there's an answer to things. There's a purpose behind it. I'm not just giving you food. On your training days, you're going to need more carbs and less fats. And on your non-training days, you're going to need less carbs and more fats. And then that's a calorie cycle. And then that's also going to get your body more utilizing fat for fuel than carbs, in a bit of a bro sciencey way of explaining it. Weekly check-ins, accountability. Here's my weight. Here's my pictures. Here's how I feel. Here's how the week went. I had this shit week. One of the biggest issues I've faced with clients is I didn't check in this week because I had a shit week. That is never more of a reason to check in, if anything. And I get it. I don't want to show the guy I'm paying and, I'm kind of trusting with my physique that I've not done it. But I need to see that, because what does a shit week look like for you? Because that's probably more beneficial to me in terms of data than what a really good week looks like to you. Because a really good week is going to look like good results, but I want to know how bad a bad week looks for you. And more than anything, it's adaptable to your real life, because it's just about the person. It's not about macros. It's not about fucking bench pressing. It's about the person, what they have going on. Can I adapt this structure to their real life and remove all of the guesswork, because it's all fucking laid out for them. This is what makes the elite coaching elite. So whether you're starting out or returning, like I said already, don't aim for perfection, aim for structure. Perfection will fail you because you're not going to get it. It is a fucking weird concept that means fuck all. It's actually a really good quote I got. I think it was the Precision Nutrition course years ago. And it was, you only need to be 10% better every day, even 1% better every day. And the best way to describe that is there's 5 of you running away from a bear. You don't need to be the fastest out of the 5. You just need to be fastest than the slowest out of that 5, or faster than the bear. Like, that's all you need. You just need to get by. And that's usually people hear that and going, oh, he's only getting by. Should you not be, shooting for the moon, aim for the stars and all that? No, you shouldn't, because you're not going to do it. You're already not tracking anything. You're already not sure of what time you go to bed at. So why the fuck are we looking for perfection? We're looking for a structure. And what we need out of a structure is one that's sustainable. And what makes it sustainable is that's easy for you to do and to follow. And that might look like, I have a lot of clients that, one of their meals in the day is a chicken fillet roll, but in a wrap. Like, that's not sexy. That's not, you don't see Chris Bumstead going, here's my chicken fillet roll wrap. He's eating fucking tilapia and fucking, zucchini with fucking, sprouted greens and whatever type of fancy rice. But again, that's to him. That's what's available to him, what is realistic for him to do. And he's able to do that. So that's what he does. And he probably enjoys it. For you to go, I want to do that. Why? Because he does it and you think that's the reason he looks like that. Everyone's path is different. And perfection isn't the key to making that path happen or become a success. It's having something that's scalable, which will be a structure, which will need to be sustainable for you. That is the fucking key there. I thought I pushed the button. I didn't. You bastard. So that is the end of that. I did fairly well there. I'm coming up on 2 minutes of my own fucking time yesterday for my laptop bleeding died on me yesterday. But just a final reminder on these things. You'll never rise to the level of motivation. You'll only ever fall to the level of structure. And it's just the same thing. Like, obviously really risking repeating the shit out of myself here. But, the perfection thing is the big one here. Like, you're not going to get anywhere by being motivated. I put a reel up on this a few months ago at the tail end of my last prep in April. Like, I don't get on a bike and do 45 minutes with a numb arsehole, because I'm motivated. I have a goal, and that 45 minutes on that bike every day is going to bring me closer to that goal. So I'm going to do everything I can to get that 45 minutes in so I can get to my goal. And if I don't, I'm only going to feel the worse for it in myself. So why would I do that to myself? Like, it's, 45 minutes is a lot of time, but also by the time you jumped on the bike, stopped fucking giving out and just did it, it's done. Just do it again tomorrow. And then the more you do that, the easier it is. That's just the way it goes. So this is the end of the first webinar. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to do my best to kind of half these time-wise. Obviously, didn't help myself with 24 fucking slides and a tendency to waffle. But hopefully you guys get some value out of this. If you guys want any help building the structure, if you like some of the stuff that you hear there now, you can join my free Skool community. That's in the description of my YouTube channel. My Instagram is cav_CBK, or you can follow CBK Elite Physique Coaching on Instagram. I actually only rebranded that and I actually can't remember. CBK Elite Coaching on Instagram. And, you can sign up to coaching if that's what you want, or I have free discovery calls as well. 15 minutes just of a chat. Like, where are you at? What are you doing? Is there anything I can help you with? Here's how I help people. It's not a sales call. I'm very much not a salesman. I'm the worst businessman in the world for that type of shit. And I also have the identity and structure diagnostic, which is €100. But what will happen is you'll fill out a form of your actual setup, and we'll go through a 30-minute call, and I'll give you a setup to follow. I'll throw you onto my coaching app, so you have somewhere to kind of follow it and kind of have it, and kind of run it really yourself. And then I'll be always in the back end there if you ever needed me. So keep all those things in mind. Please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you can. Any comments are always greatly appreciated. Following the Instagrams are always greatly appreciated. These are just things I'm going to be doing now because, again, I just want to put out as much kind of education as possible. It's something that I've really wanted to do and I've not really had the time to do up until very recently, leaving Champions Gym. So this is a big thing that I'm going to be kind of rolling out now, kind of one a week. And if obviously the more we do of them, maybe people might kind of weigh in on, will you cover this on this one or this on that one, which would only be music to my ears. I'd be more than happy to kind of do any of those things. So don't be afraid or hesitant to reach out. And I hope you guys got some value from this. I'm looking forward to doing another one, and you guys all enjoy your day, and I will catch you all on the next one.